Hello everyone, welcome back to the United Star. Today we have a very interesting debate. We'll be debating on whether we should have De Gea for the next season or Henderson as our first keeper. Now, I have with me Prasham and Vishesh. Prasham wants De Gea as our keeper, and Vishesh wants Henderson. So we'll be having a sort of debate with the both of them throwing in their points, and we'll have a nice debate. Uh, so I'd like to ask Prasham to start with your points.
So I think De Gea should be given another season just purely because I yet think that he is within the top 7 or 8 goalkeepers in the world, and I think he's world class. Maybe he's going in and he's going through a bit of a confidence dip, or he's not quite sure of himself, and that is because we're seeing a lot of mistakes being made by him. But again, like he is yet a world class goalkeeper. He has a lot to offer to United in terms of experience and I mean, he's the only resemblance of continuity and quality performance over the last few years. Like we've been pretty poor, and he's the only player who stood out. And I think he deserves another season to kind of prove himself and uh, try to try to sort of reinvent himself almost and get back to the levels he's been at. Because I believe that he can get there, and he has a lot to offer. So that's the only reason why I feel we should keep him for another
Okay.
season at least.
Vishesh, what do you have to say to that?
Honestly, I think De Gea has been one of the club's great servants. He's been there since Alex Ferguson's time. But there comes a stage in everyone's career where you've reached the peak and fallen. Can we guarantee that De Gea will be back to his 2017 best? No. But when we're looking at Dean Henderson, we're looking at an upcoming goalkeeper who's probably dubbed to be the next Neuer for all you know, and he's someone who's great with his feet. He's someone who has great stoppage possibility. He's someone who's going to be England's number one in the time to come. A point I want to make is that when Sheffield were playing in the Championship uh, last season, that time Henderson was given the Young Player of the Year. Now, a team that is promoted does not depend solely on their keeper because they need to score up front. But it's the keeper that's got this award. That means he's doing something right that has caused the team to reach that position. So we need to give him
I
serious
mean,
credibility for that. And when we
I
look at
mean,
his
also,
first, yeah,
if you look at De Gea, he's one. I agree he's not in his best form, but if you're looking at performances, if you're looking at Henderson, the sample size of 2 seasons, right? And you're saying that he should be promoted to be United's first choice keeper,
yeah,
which, as opposed to Sheffield, has a lot more pressure. At Sheffield, if you concede a goal, it doesn't really matter. And given he's been doing really well, nothing to take away anything from him. But again, he has a defense that is very well organized in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about that. And it's a sample size of 1 season in the championship and how quarter of a season in the Premier League. He's made tremendous saves and I've enjoyed watching him. But maybe he's too young to take the reins as United's number one keeper because that brings additional pressures. When you're expected to save every shot. At Sheffield,
Prashant,
you're not expected to.
when we look at it, De Gea came here 10 years ago. That time he was 21, 22 as well. He was at a similar age range of Dean Henderson, and we have to give the keeper the time to settle into a team. You're talking about defensive stability. If you look at the back four of United, it's gone stable very recently, and we're seeing De Gea's. I mean, De Gea is not coming into the game at all. But when you look at Dean Henderson, he's always involved. You look at the penalty status. When was the last time De Gea saved a penalty? It was against Everton when Lukaku played. Dean Henderson, he has a 100% save ratio in the Premier League. You look at
Don't you
Henderson,
think?
he's
Don't you think we
standing
should
for the
take
Golden Glove right now. He's running for that
right?
since day one. I mean,
No, agreed.
he's the
But don't you
overall
think we should give De Gea one more season and allow Henderson to be on season for another year
but
away at
what
loan and
what
Masters trade
guarantee
even
what
further?
guarantee do you have that Henderson is ready to because till what I remember, Sheffield wanted to sign him on a permanent basis last summer and he signed a new contract. I don't think that contract says that you're going to be out for 2 years. If he
This
signed a 4-year contract and he's going to be out for 2 years at a different club, that doesn't satisfy his want to play for United. Look at Sky
no,
Sports; they've
there's
recently
nothing
called
to
him
take
the
away from
MVP.
Henderson. I
That's
think
what I'm
there's
saying. So
nothing to
Sky
take
Sports
away
has
from Henderson.
recently called Henderson their MVP player for Sheffield for the season. I mean,
But but
it's
Souness also doesn't
two
recognize
back-to-back
Pogba,
seasons.
so I mean,
But I mean, so there's Neville that's on Sky Sports as well. There's Percy that comes on
see,
Sky Sports as well.
I think what's happened with De Gea is that fans have gotten a little too impatient with him, and because he's a goalkeeper, I think it's more and more it's sort of emphasized even more. An outfield player also can have a one and a half bad season, and we don't say that we should ship him off, right? Just because De Gea is a goalkeeper, I think it's underlined and emphasized more. And
I just
giving him
I just
another
think
season would be incredible for United because he deserves the chance to prove himself at least one last time, is what I think.
I mean we're seeing his downfall since the game against Portugal in the World Cup. And
Right.
let's be honest, I'm seeing similar mistakes that he made when he came to United. If you look at the
But you
high
remember he
claims,
bound. You remember like everyone when he came, everyone was like, "Oh, De Gea's never gonna make it," and
I
he
agree.
proved everyone wrong. So
He proved
he does
everyone
have
wrong.
that ability, right?
I agree. He has the ability of doing that. But do we have the can we take the risk of losing Henderson over it? That's question one. And question two, while he did overcome his mistakes, he's back at it again. You look at his high claims through corners, it's just fall. He's back to punching the ball rather than catching it, which is one of his biggest mistakes. You look at Henderson's high claims, 12. You look at Henderson's foot passing, his what he makes passes per match 25.7, and accurate long balls are 191. De Gea's accurate long balls 70, passes per match is 20.52. It's just De Gea is great with his feet when it comes to saving. When it comes to distribution, he's not. He's lost all possible skill of distribution in comparison to his previous seasons.
But my limited point is that I think we're being too impatient with De Gea, and I've heard this a lot that oh he's lost it and this and that and everything. But if this was a striker or if this was a midfielder, we wouldn't have been so impatient because the fact is it doesn't get so underlined when
I
people
agree,
make
Prashant.
mistakes in those
Prashant, I
positions.
agree to that. But my question would be if tomorrow you have to decide between Henderson and De Gea, if next season Henderson puts the ultimatum, I've been out for 2 years, played for Sheffield United, proved myself in the Championship, proved myself in the Premier League, got a call up to England as well. Either take me as your number one or drop me and let me go to a club where
No,
I'm going to get way more
I
experience.
don't think anyone, I don't think that he is of that stature where he can come to United and say, take me as my number one or drop me. If he even comes, he has to be number two and he has to fight for his spot and take it from De Gea. Because at the end of the day, De Gea has been United's number one for like 7 years, and out of which 5.5 years he's been phenomenal. So I don't see that any way that any goalkeeper in the world can come to United and say that make me your number one or shelf me.
I mean,
It won't work that way.
at the end of the day, you have to take the final decision, right? You cannot allow the keeper to be out of the blue of what his situation is going to be. He'd rather go like how I talk about defenders. A young defender should rather go to Germany and be on loan, learn his trade, come back, and then prosper. Don't you think Henderson's
But
done that? Don't you think
no, I
two
don't think so
years?
because if you see most keepers peak at about 27, 28 post that. They don't peak as early as defenders and strikers and midfielders do. So Henderson is yet young and yeah, you say that he's learned his trade, but again, we don't know how he's going to do under pressure. There is pressure at Sheffield, but what you cannot compare it to the pressures of being United's number one. It's not even comparable, and it would do him no harm to stay one more year at Sheffield and then see what he does from there. Because keepers don't peak till they're 27, 28, and that's the general trend. That's when most keepers are at their best. There are obviously a lot of examples of young keepers, Casillas, for example, Buffon, but these are you saying Henderson has the potential to be that great?
Personally, I do believe so. It's a
I,
controversial topic, but personally, I do believe that he's possibly one of the best out there.
Possibly, I agree, but I think De Gea is one of the best out there, and we know that. So we shouldn't be so rushed to just let him go because of one bad season or one and a half bad seasons. So I think my limited point is I don't want to rush David De Gea out because I yet think he has a lot to offer. And more than that, Henderson can learn a lot from De Gea as well. I think that's another important thing. If De Gea stays at the club as the number one, Henderson fights for the spot. There's a
So
lot that Henderson
do
can
you
learn
think
from
it's
De Gea.
time then do you think it's time for Romero to leave? I mean, he's done nothing wrong in position number 2, right?
See, Romero,
I
the way
think
I
I
see
think
it, is
I
never
think
going
the
to be the
debate
number one.
is inclining and taking off somewhere else now. And I think it's time right now. We've had some amazing points from the both of you. Prasham thinks that Henderson is still too young to play for a club, young and inexperienced to play for a club like United right now. Maybe
And
give
De
him a
Gea
year
deserves
more.
a chance.
And De Gea does deserve a chance because he's been a club legend. Vishesh wants United to cash in on De Gea because he feels the right time. So thank you guys. That was a great debate. Thank you for your points and see you guys in the next one.